Hi everyone, welcome to our channel, Rebecca Stew and the Crew. I'm Rebecca. Today we are making these farmhouse trees using items from Dollar Tree. So let's go over our supplies. We'll use 2 wreath forms from Dollar Tree. We'll also need the bamboo wreaths, some floral wire, and then I'm going to be using some twine. I'm also going to use this farmhouse ribbon, but any ribbon will do. We'll need some berries. These are from Dollar Tree, as well as their icicle branches. And then we'll need some LED lights and the wired garland ties from Dollar Tree, some hot glue, and some scissors. So let's get crafty. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull apart this wreath from the Dollar Tree. So it's wrapped in twine. We're just going to cut the knot and then unravel it so that we can pull some pieces out of this bamboo wreath. So once we have that pulled apart, we'll start working on the wreath form. So what we want to do is cut about 10-inch pieces of the floral wire and start attaching it to the bottom ring where the vertical portions of the wreath form meet up at the bottom part there. And you just want to wrap that around a few times nice and tight so that you have some ties to start adding your bamboo wreath to the Christmas tree. Now I'm just going to wrap the bamboo wreath one time around the spiral all the way to the top, but you could add the bamboo wreath all the way and just make the whole thing wood if you wanted to, but I decided to add some greenery to mine. So as you can see, for the first part here, we just want to start wrapping it around the wreath form and then tighten up that wire nice and tight to hold the bamboo onto the wreath form, and then open up those wire ties that you made and put the bamboo wreath right in the middle of it. Then take those long pieces of the wire and you're going to wrap it around a few times onto the wreath frame. And once you have it pulled kind of tight, you're holding it down with your one hand. Once you have it wrapped around a few times, you can let go with the other hand and then tighten up the wire a few times. Now don't worry about cutting the wire down just yet. We'll do that at the very end. So you just want to keep working at the same manner all the way around that bottom ring. Just keep wrapping that wire around the base until you get it attached, and then you can use both hands to twist up the wire and make it nice and tight. Now it doesn't matter if you have some sticks kind of hanging out a little bit or poking out, doesn't look too neat quite yet. We're going to add some twine at the very end of the project here where we have all of the bamboo wreath on, and it will help neaten it up when we're done with this portion. So as you get to the end, you're going to have a little bit of overhang. It's a little bit longer than it needs to be, so you can just tuck those little pieces down into the wreath form that's already there, or you can add some more wire to hold it down or just nip off those overhang pieces. But you want to do the whole bottom ring. Once you have the whole bottom portion done, you can start working your way up the wreath form. So for this portion, I just add wire, the same amount, about 10 inches of wire to each portion of the spiral as it is attached to the vertical lines that go up and down the wreath form. So I'm just going to work my way all the way around the wreath, adding the wire to each portion of these crossbars until I get all the way to the top. And it's just going to make it easier so that once I start adding my bamboo wreath to the spiral, I can just keep going and I don't have to stop and add more wires. It's easier to do it all at once than to do each row. So now I'm taking about 4 pieces of that bamboo wreath, and I'm going to line the bottom up there so they're all about the same length at the bottom. And then you're going to, again, just wrap the long piece of wire around a few times until you get the beginning of the bamboo wreath attached at the bottom here. And then once you have it kind of tightened down, you can let go with the other hand and tighten it up with the wire here. And you want to make sure it's nice and tight. That's why you want to cut your wire so long so that you have plenty. It's easy to reach as you're wrapping it through the wreath form. And it's really cheap. You get a lot for $1, so it's okay if you make some extra pieces. So then you're just going to keep working your way around the spiral. So as you can see here, I just open up the wire that I've already attached, and then I want to wrap the wire around the wreath form. You want to hold it pretty tight so that you can wrap the one portion of the wire around while you hold the wire with your other hand, and that will help hold it to the wreath form. And then again, just twist both pieces of wire together. So the pieces of the bamboo wreath are, only so long. So eventually you're going to have to add some more of the wreath in here just because it's starting to get thin. You can use these Dollar Tree clips. They kind of help hold the wreath together if you're having trouble holding it on. So I just did that as an example. But as you can see here, I'm starting to run out of wreath form. So I'm just adding a few pieces before I continue. So I try to get them right where the wire and those cross pieces come together. I line them up kind of right there to add my pieces in. You don't want to add it like somewhere in the middle just because you've already got your wire pieces there. So make sure you're adding them right where those crossbars come together. And then you'll have to do this periodically throughout the project. You'll just have to add a few more pieces of the bamboo wreath as you move up, just because it starts to get thin, or the pieces, are shorter than the other pieces. And so you want to make sure you have the same thickness of the bamboo from the bottom all the way up to the top to make it look uniform. This is the hardest part of the whole project, is just getting the bamboo wreath pieces attached. And it's really not difficult to do. It's just a little bit cumbersome, having to hold it down with the one hand and then tighten it up. And then being able to once you can let go and you can tighten the wire down, it's a lot easier. But you definitely want to hold it really tight to the wreath form with one hand while you wrap those longer pieces of wire around it to hold it in place. So once I get to the top, I did have a lot left over, so I'm just going to nip those off with some scissors. And we have a bunch of the long pieces of wire hanging off there, but that's okay. We're going to fix those. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure each piece of wire is secured really tightly around the wood pieces, and then we'll cut off the remaining wire and just tuck the ends in so that the sharp edges are facing inwards. And that way, if you pick it up, you're not getting poked by the wire anywhere. So then we're going to take the twine and we're just going to start attaching it at the bottom. You just want to make a knot and have some overhang so that you can attach it on the other side. And then we're just going to wrap this in kind of like a diagonal spiral all the way around in one continuous piece, and just pull it nice and tight. And that's going to help pull all of those bamboo pieces nice and tight. Just make them look a little bit neater, especially the pieces that are kind of short and poking out. It'll just neaten it up a little bit along the way. And it looks so much nicer once you attach the twine around your wreath form. And you can do this as close or as far apart as you like. I did it kind of like twice around each portion. And then I get all the way back to the beginning, and then I just tie a knot and then cut off the excess. And then I take another piece of twine and I start at the diagonal. And again, you just want to tie a knot, cut the excess off, and then wrap your twine in a diagonal all the way up to the top to help secure that bamboo wreath to the wire wreath form. Once you get to the very top, you want to have a little bit of excess, and then all I do is I wrap it around the top of the tree a few times, and then at the very end I just use some hot glue to attach that very top portion. That way you don't need a knot or anything at the top. Okay, so we did the same exact thing to the large tree and the small tree, adding the bamboo. And now we're going to start adding these garland wire ties. You get 12 in a pack from the Dollar Tree. So you just want to fold the wire over and wrap it around the wreath form, and then just keep working in the same manner all the way down to the bottom. You're just working in a spiral. And once you get to the bottom, you can go ahead and add another row just to help fill in the spaces. So initially I thought one row around would be enough, but the garland is kind of thin, and so I decided to use another layer just to make it a little bit thicker and fill in those spaces. But all I'm doing is either attaching the wire garland to the last piece, or I'm just wrapping it around the wreath form. But either way, I'm just working in a spiral and then going all the way to the bottom, and then just wrapping it around that bottom form as well to make the circle all the way around that bottom portion there. And then I just went back to the top and did the exact same thing, doing another layer to fill in those open spaces. So I did the same thing for the small tree and the large tree. So if you choose to use the garland wire ties, you're going to want to probably do 2 layers. If you're using the larger garland, you'll just want to do 1 layer. They have those large pieces of garland for like stairwells and things like that at Dollar Tree. You could use that as well. Those are a little bit thicker, so you'd probably only need to go around it 1 time. So once we have the greenery all attached, we're going to add these LED lights. Dollar Tree has them in gold and in green leaves, and they're just $1. You get 10 lights, and they take 2 AA batteries. It's on a wire, so we're just going to bend the wire around the top and then just work in a spiral all the way down, and then take that battery pack, wrap it around a few times along the bottom, and then just tuck it up inside. Make sure the battery door that you can open is facing towards the top, and then I just attach it to the wreath form with some twine. I did 2 twine knots at the top and the bottom, and that way I can take the twine off and change the batteries if I need to. I just add a knot at the top as well here. And it was plenty to hold the battery door on. And I'll do the same thing to the other tree with the lights. So the lights are on both of them now. And now we're going to start adding these icicle branches. We're going to cut them apart. So at first we're going to glue some larger pieces to the very tops of the trees to make it look like the top of the tree has some icicles that are and some branches that are dripping down off of the top of the tree. So we're just going to attach that with some hot glue. And I worked my way all the way around the top of the tree, and then I did the same thing to the smaller tree here. Just keep cutting small pieces off and working our way all the way around. So now both trees have the icicle branches on the top, and then I cut some more smaller pieces off, and I add those all the way around the tree on top of the bamboo wreath that we've attached. Just want to cut some small pieces and glue them on as you go. You'll add a little bit more to the bottom. You want to make sure you have some all the way down around the whole tree, the front and the back. That way you can see that from any angle in the room and it'll be decorated. So now we're going to take some Dollar Tree ribbon. We have the lace ribbon and this farmhouse style ribbon. I cut them in 5-inch pieces, and then I just cut that little decorative notch on each end, and then we're just going to attach them with hot glue and make kind of like a layered X pattern. You just want to keep filling it in until you have all of the pieces done. So I did, I believe 6 pieces of the striped ribbon and 5 pieces of the lace ribbon, and they're all 5 inches long. You just want to keep layering them until you have like this X pattern, and then I layered the lace ribbon on top. So I did 5 pieces of the lace ribbon. I'm sorry, 6 pieces. And then once we were done with the lace ribbon, I did the same thing for the second one. And then you want to tie a piece of twine around the center of those bows to hold them together. Then I add a little bit of greenery to the top and some berries to the very center. And these are going to be the tree toppers. You can cut that twine off and then just attach them to the top with some hot glue. On the back of the tree, I just added a very simple bow. And then I made a bunch of these small bows to add to the trees. I did about 10 for each tree. I tried to glue these mainly where I had open spaces to fill in because I didn't want to see all the way through the tree as much as I could. So just keep attaching your bows all the way around. I did this to both trees as well, and then I cut the berries apart and I want to start gluing them on the vertical pieces of the wire wreath form that I could still see, and I would glue them kind of up and down to cover up that wreath form there and kind of help it all blend in. And I put quite a few berries on the tree all the way around. If you wanted to add like some fake snow or something to the tree, you could just take some white paint and brush it along the green portions of the garland wire ties to add some fake snow to the ends. That would look pretty as well. But here are the trees all finished, so they're really easy to do. The hardest part is attaching that bamboo to the wreath form, but after that it's really easy. You just got kind of wrapping wire around the wreath form and then attaching some bows, some berries, and some icicle branches. Here's a close-up view of them all finished. I've seen similar items at other stores. They're anywhere from like $25 to $40. And I really couldn't see paying that much for something I knew I could make all by myself using items from the Dollar Tree. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would invite you to check out some of our other DIY videos. We post them every single Thursday. And then every Friday, I post a video showing what is new at all of the different Dollar Trees in my area. I try to go to at least 4 every week. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit that like and share button. And here are those other videos from our channel that you might also enjoy. Have a great night, everyone.